Don't be fooled by the finance mumbo jumbo. What the heck is financial partnerships and everything? It's a bloody loan. What the heck is financial partnerships? And I mean, why do people like to deceive us and do all sorts?
And then with INEC, great idea, but I hope that in these downloadable PVCs, they've taken into account safeguards to ensure that, there are no fraudulent activities in downloading or creating your own PVCs. And most importantly, for those who have talked about technical hitches with regards to, changing their location and the likes, I hope that this is also being addressed. Rufai, your take on these stories?
At first, I'll say kudos to INEC because when they do something well, we should commend them. And kudos to INEC as regards that downloadable PVC because it just goes with a grain of technology. And I want to believe, I don't want to say it's foolproof, that they've sorted it out because what you just need is a very good security feature, probably via a barcode that is iterated to a back end. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to go against the grain. And even if you fraudulently try to create that barcode, it's not definitely going to tally with the back end because when you present it,
there are checks that are able to check.
So so that's just it. So obviously, and when you present it, I'm not sure it's going to be able to tally. So these are things that I think will be sorted out. Also, I'm also commending INEC today because some party committee, appeals committee, cannot just say that we change the names of the people that were validly voted for in those party primaries and INEC ratified those party primaries. And you say you just change their names like that. Who does that? But that's the shenanigan that goes on here. So you see, when people were lying to Nigerians and saying, it's going to be American-style democracy where the people determine the vote and everything, at first anyway, those party primary elections were shambolic across all political parties because we saw the disastrous way at which they counted numbers. And sometimes you wonder if they went through proper kindergartens. But apart from that, what the people have decided, even when I would like to say what the people decided was questionable, because the process was not even fair on ground. Then apart from that, what the people decided, then you now take it to Abuja. So if your appeals committee is still going to change names of people in the first place, why allow them go through the grassroots in the first place? Why don't you just make it an Abuja committee and nominate people in Abuja and put them there? I mean, and that's the APC. But I'm also going to see how INEC is going to enforce it, and the APC is not going to get away with this because it's a complete aberration. It's a complete sweep. Some people have alleged fraud and said all sorts of things. It's a complete sweep. Don't be fooled by the finance mumbo jumbo. What the heck is financial partnerships and everything? It's a bloody loan. What the heck is financial partnerships? And I mean, why do people like to deceive us and do all sorts? And this is getting alarming because I know at the end of the tenure of this loan, which is about 2051, because it has a moratorium, pretty much sounds around now, to 2051, the entire money will be paid. The loan is about 1.2 billion, but the entire money and the charge and the interest will be about another $300 million. So it'll be about 1.58 billion. At the full duration of this, I know definitely all those targets will not be met. You will not have broader access to what's it called, broadband. All these projects are shrouded in a lot of secrecy. There's no account. You see, the problem I have with this government is that there's little or no accountability. Did you read the IMF report yesterday that the government did not report about 2% of GDP spendings? They didn't report it. So the government wants to tell us that that was just an oversight. It's the lack of accountability for me I can't understand. It was when the IMF now flagged it up, they now reported it. So is it the same thing we're going to get in the loan? Is it in the same country where a fake agency just finds its way into the budget, boom, and have budget code, and have office, and has a DG that has been meeting with everybody? Is that the same government you want accountability for? A fake agency, and Mr. Bayo Ononuga just comes out and writes a report and says, don't shout on us, don't shout on us. But he can't tell us how a fake, what they call a fake non-entity, just enter the federal budgets that was approved by the government. You see, we've become a laughing stock. In fact, it would be defamation to the word joke to say that some of the things that have happened in this comment have become a joke. It would be a defamation to the word joke to say some things that have happened has happened. So is it that same loan? You are collecting from World Bank, you say you're going to get accountability, 58 million, what's it called? Who is going to survey that 58 million people now have access to broadband and all the things they talk about in the loan? And the next thing we call it financial partnership. It's between 1 to 3.5% too. It's not financial partnership. So when I see they now cream it up, it's just like putting cream on. You now cream it up than say that it's a $1.2 billion financial partnership. It's not $1.2 billion financial partnership. Yes, the same Bajabia Miller reported it as fraud. But after he reported it, he still found his way into 2026 budget, Abi. After he reported that it was fraud, he still found his way into 2026 budget.
And wasn't done.
Oh, is that not an indictment on the budgeting process? Yes. So that means the budgeting that they said was an aberration. If fraudulent entities can be on the budget.
So how many more fraudulent
entities are there? And this man said he started work in January. So he took September up. He said he started work in January 3rd, 2025. It took September for it to be discovered.
Okay, the Michael Adeniyi subject was not presented before us in the headlines. So I assume that is a digression. When it is properly presented, I will make my comments. However, let's deal with the subjects scheduled for headlines, the beginning of the program. Let's start with INEC. Now, INEC is bound by its own regulations and by also the provisions in terms of timetable and what the law says that it has outlined. So when INEC now says that persons who did not take part in the primaries, they cannot have their names submitted as persons who will represent political parties. That is in line with what the regulations say. But however, many of these political parties in Nigeria, they have this phenomenon they call placeholders. Namely, that somebody can stand in as a placeholder and then subsequently the person's name can be changed and another name will be substituted. That, I guess, is what the INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission, is saying by insisting that if you did not take part in the primaries, your name cannot suddenly show up. And this is against the background of what we discussed yesterday morning, that the APC was already substituting names. And some of those names, as it will appear, are not even persons who were part of the process. So it is the onus is on INEC to build public trust and confidence by insisting on the fidelity and the integrity of its own processes. If that is the case, then that is in order. Now, INEC has also reportedly disclosed that out of the 93 million names on the INEC register, that most of them are deceased persons, unknown characters. In other words, the 93 million voters register for 2027 is populated by ghosts. Now, we cannot have ghosts voting in Nigeria because that would be, some kind of mechanism for the kind of arithmetical blunder that we saw during the primaries, counting from 1 to 2,000, from 2,000 to some outlandish number. So INEC, knowing that it's also part of its responsibility to sanitize the register, in its timelines, is still going to publish that register and also ensure that the persons who claim that they have PVCs are persons who are eligible to vote in that election. So if all of this translates into INEC trying to build public confidence and trust, I think it should be a welcome development. But would they sustain it? Would they live up to the promise that they have made? Now, the Nigerian military says it has recorded significant success against insurgency. 662 persons killed in the second quarter of 2026. Well, that's the kind of story that Nigerians would like to hear. But again, sustainability. that has to be sustained. And, you know, the Nigerian military also has to make efforts that we don't keep hearing about, you know, people being released, people being rehabilitated. Nigerians don't believe in this pepper soup and jollof rice and ashwebi approach to what they call non-kinetic. But for the fact that the military, either Operation Hadinkai or the police through Operation Kusaye in the southwest, Lagos and Ogun states, you know, as long as we keep hearing that and successes, I think that will reassure the people. As for the World Bank finance package, 1.25 billion to create jobs, the report says, and then to provide opportunities, water, irrigation, agriculture, digital services, health, and nutrition for Nigerians. The big question to ask is that this is not the first time we have been hearing about World Bank loan. What is the impact? I mean, since the time I was in secondary school, World Bank had been giving us loans for agriculture and all of that. We have a Ministry of Agriculture that we say is poorly funded. We have a Minister Kiari. You know, what exactly is the Nigerian government doing? We hear that many of these strategic units within the framework defined have not been given money. So it's not enough to just say we have collected 1.25 billion. What are you doing with it? What is the impact? Even with agricultural productivity that is checkmated by insecurity in the country and the Ebin power phenomenon that is now nationwide, to the extent that people have been reduced to the kuli and tomato level in Nigeria. Finally, Governor Yebanji, well, two things that Governor Yebanji said. He said he will run an inclusive government in Ekiti State. I think that is the spirit, and that he has been brought to the position, second term, in a historic manner, by the grace of God. I think that humility is important. What I don't understand is how he jumped from the over 300,000 votes that he got to the fact that he will deliver 600,000 to 700,000 for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Many governors are saying they will deliver 1 million votes. They should remember that we are going to double-check on this eventually. Governor Yebanji, third point, I think, he said, all the 36 governors want state police. Yes, they have said so, but I don't think he can speak for all of them in the sense that in terms of commitment, in terms of result, we may just find that not all the states are ready, and some of the state governors may just be, you know, just talking to be politically correct. But the idea of state police is something that has become popular.
Thank you.